Welcome back. Today, let's talk about why so many people feel behind in life. There's a quiet anxiety a lot of people are carrying. It shows up when you're scrolling on your phone late at night, when someone asks, "Oh, so what's next for you?" When you hit a birthday, a new year, or a milestone that you thought you'd reach by now. In times like those, it is so important that you don't say that, "Oh, I feel like I'm behind," because truly it's not a personal failure, it's just a cultural one. So let me explain. The promise we were given doesn't match the reality that we're living. Many of us was taught that there's a formula for life. Go to school, work hard, be responsible, then eventually everything will fall into place. But the world has changed since then. Careers became unstable, housing became inaccessible, the cost of living outpaced wages, and burnout just became normal. I grew up in the 90s, and that's what my parents said to me as far as there was no question about going to college. It was, you are going to go to college. I don't know how you're going to pay for it, but you are going to college. And so everyone, people are doing everything they were told to do, and they still feel like they're falling short. And that creates a specific type of shame around it. Not a loud shame, perhaps, but just like a quiet, internalized shame that makes capable people really question themselves. I would also say people feel really behind because social media distorted our sense of time. We don't just see success anymore, but rather we see it constantly, everywhere. Engagements, new jobs, new homes, soft launches, hard wins. And the problem isn't inspiration. There's inspiration everywhere, but it's the matter of compression, I would say. We're seeing decades of progress from thousands of people all at once with no context. You're not seeing the setbacks. You're not seeing the pauses. You're not seeing the private struggles that these people have had. And so it feels like everyone is moving forward at the same pace except for you. But that's not reality. That's just called an algorithm. Another reason why people feel so far behind is productivity has become a measure of worth. I've talked about it in several videos, but somewhere along the way, doing more just became tied to being deserving, where you're deserving of things, time, whatever the case may be. People would always say, if you're tired, you should push through. If you're resting, you should be feeling guilty about that. If you're not maximizing your time, you're wasting your potential. And all of that is trash, absolute trash. Um, when you're functioning, working, contributing, just surviving even, it doesn't feel like progress really. It just feels like you're standing still. So I get it. And when rest feels like it's wrong, life will always feel like you're behind. Another reason I think people are feeling so far behind is the adulthood checklist set us up to feel behind. There's an unspoken timeline many people are measuring themselves against. I know if I went back and I talked to my 16-year-old self, she would be like, "Girl, what what are you doing? You're not doing anything on the timeline at the times that I have written down here." But I will at least say, she should be happy because we've had a great life. We've done a lot of cool things. Granted, the timeline was not followed at all, but I do think I'm really happy with my life and where it's going, where my future progress and the goals that I have set aside for myself for the future. So I'm really happy with where I'm at now. But I will say it was not by that timeline that my 16-year-old self had planned out. And so that is okay. I know that, people say by a certain age you should have clarity, by another age you should be stable, by another age you should have a certain title, income, or family structure. But lives don't unfold in straight lines. People pause, people pivot, people restart. Life be life, in y'all. And when your life doesn't match a checklist, you don't begin questioning the checklist. You begin questioning yourself, and you really shouldn't. You just have to let your life unfold as it naturally will. And this next one, I think is really, it's really grounding, and I wanted to make sure that we are giving pause to this, but I think people are carrying so much more than what they've carried in the past. And I don't think it gets enough attention, where student loans is an issue, yes, but I feel like so many people now are caregivers, for instance. They're caring for elderly parents, caring for siblings, even caring for children, caring for family. health issues, economic instability, grief, burnout, these things slow down your timeline, not because of the lack of ambition, but just, again, life be lifing, and it's reality. It just is what it is. And when you're in that survival mode, progress looks different. Sometimes progress is just, let me get up and take a shower and do what I need to do today. And that's it. It is nothing self-actualizing about that. It's just trying to make it to another day. And sometimes that's all it can be. And it doesn't make it less valid, however. It just makes you human. And I would also say that we confuse speed with direction. Fast movement is celebrated. Rarely is intentional movement rewarded. And if you slow down to reassess, to heal, to choose alignment over optics, it can feel like you're falling behind. But moving quickly in the wrong direction also doesn't mean you're moving ahead too. So sometimes slowing down is the most strategic thing you can do. I would also end it with this. Late bloomers are not the rule, but the exception. And what I mean by this is that we tell so many stories about exceptional folks who made it early. We talk about those, prodigies who maybe went to college at 17 years old, ended up dropping out, creating a business, and by the time they were 18 years old, they were multimillionaires. But we talk less about people who found their stride later on in life, after false starts, after detours, after recalibrations. The most meaningful lives aren't built on that early certainty that you get when you're younger, but they're built on accumulated wisdom. When life be lifing and you learn those lessons, that can truly propel you forward. And that is what we don't hear about. We don't hear about those late bloomers. And life, when it comes to building things, it takes time. So I would say this: if you've been carrying the feeling that you are behind in life, hear this clearly. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not running out of time. You're just navigating a world that has changed the rules without updating the expectations. And the moment you stop racing or comparing yourself to someone else's timeline is the moment that your life actually begins to feel like yours. Comparison is the thief of joy. I have to repeat this to myself every couple of weeks. The only timeline that matters is your own. So again, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday, the week before, the month before, the year before. All right, so that is all the time I have for you this video here. But let's see, for today's affirmation, I am not behind, I am becoming. I am not behind, I am becoming. So, hi, if you made it this far, my name is Monie. Welcome to my little corner of the internet where I bring you videos centered around rebuilding a life that you want to live, not escape from. And that includes videos around entrepreneurship, being a nonprofit professional, chronicling my travels and daily life in general. So check out the channel page for more content. But thank you again for spending time with me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.